Hey guys, so I just got off a video call and we've gotten some more information about what learning will look like later this week. So we are hoping to start our office hours on Thursday, and I will send out a document, and the school will send out a document of what that all entails, the times and things like that. We will be meeting with all classes 4 days a week. So on Monday and Tuesday, or Monday and Wednesday, you will be meeting with your Black 1 and Black 2 class. So if you're in mine or Miss Nestor's homeroom, on Mondays and Wednesdays, you will be meeting with us. If you are in Mr. Mays, Mr. Wyckoff, for Black 1, 2, you will be meeting with them on Monday, Wednesdays. Tuesday, Thursdays, we will be meeting with Blacks 3 and 4. So it will just be swapped. It'll be for about 25 minutes, and it will be back to back. So if you have Mr. Wyckoff for Black 3, you would meet with him for 25 minutes, and then you would move to Mr. Mays for 25 minutes. It might be done where we are just available to answer emails. We might be doing a Google Hangout or a Zoom call. We might be just on Google Classroom if you have Google Classroom in those classes for them to chat with you, or even MobiMax. It's going to look different for every teacher. I know Miss Nestor and myself are planning on doing Zoom meetings or Google Hangouts to be able to chat with all of you and see all of you. That time is really going to be the opportunity for us to answer any questions you might have on work that you're doing at home, and just to check in and see how you guys are doing, see if you need anything extra from us, things like that. So that's what will happen during those office times. Remember to either pick up your packet today or tomorrow. In my last video and in the phone call and emails home, Kathy said what last names and times are associated with those last names. Trying to think of what else we talked about. We will be monitoring what you are doing, and we have to take attendance. So we do ask that you check in at least once a week with your teachers. We ask that you are doing MobiMax. It's going to be a credit, no credit type of grade going into the second semester, and we just ask that you're participating and you're checking in with us at least once a week. On Friday, we won't have office hours, but we will be calling or emailing everyone to get in contact with parents and students just to check in and see if you guys are doing okay. If you are not available during our office hours, I am always, and I know pretty much the other teachers are available through email or Remind. I have been responding mostly no matter what time it is, if I can at that current moment. I know if you text me on Remind pretty much any day, I will respond. Saturdays and Sundays, it just depends on what me and my husband are doing. But most of the time I can respond within a couple hours. Nights are just dependent upon things like that too, but I try to respond up until about 7 o'clock. If I go to bed early, I'm normally in bed by 8 or 9, so I'll try and respond then. And you can do that through email or through text message, and we will try and respond within 24 hours to all of those messages, just so we can answer any questions, things like that. Please know that we are not, I know some will be going into the school. I will not be going into the school often, so when I make phone calls, and I know when Miss Nestor has made phone calls in the past, we use an unlisted number to call you, just for safety and privacy reasons. So please know that if I send out a text or if we're calling on Friday, most likely if you get it from a restricted or an unknown number or an unlisted number, that's probably one of us trying to contact you to see how you guys are doing, and just to check in. Again, we want parents and students to check in with us at least once a week. Please feel free to come to the office hours every day. I know I would love to see you guys when those times are available, so just do that. I'll try and continue to answer questions as I get more information. Some stuff I don't have the answers to, and if I don't have the answer and you ask me a question, I will always forward you to the board office where you can call and get your question answered that way. All right, so we are continuing. Oh, I just lost my thought. We are continuing reading Number the Stars. And on Saturday, because I didn't do a video yesterday, we read how Ellen was taken in by the Johansons, Anne Marie and Christy, and their parents, and they are pretending that she is their sister, Lisa. And the German soldiers did come to check on them, and it was very close. But luckily, they didn't suspect that Ellen was actually Ellen, and they believed that it was Lisa. So let's see what is going to happen next. Chapter 6. Is the weather good for fishing? We must think what to do, Papa said. They are suspicious now. To be honest, I thought that if they came here at all, and I hope they wouldn't, that they would just glance around and see that we had no place to hide anyone and would go away. I'm sorry I have dark hair, Ellen murmured. It made them suspicious. Mama reached over quickly and took Ellen's hand. You have beautiful hair, Ellen, just like your mama's, she said. Don't ever be sorry for that. Weren't we lucky that Papa thought so quickly and found those pictures? And weren't we lucky that Lisa had dark hair when she was a baby? It turned blonde later on, when she was 2 or so. In between, she was bald for a while, Papa added. Ellen and Anne Marie both smiled tentatively. For a moment, their fear was eased. Tonight was the first time, Anne Marie realized suddenly, that Mama and Papa had spoken of Lisa. The first time in 3 years. Outside, the sky was beginning to lighten. Mrs. Johansson went to the kitchen and began to make tea. I've never been up so early before, Anne Marie said. Ellen and I will probably fall asleep in school today. Papa rubbed his chin for a moment, thinking. I think we must not take the risk of sending you to school today, he said. It is possible that they will look for Jewish children in the schools. Not go to school? Ellen asked in amazement. My parents have always told me that education is the most important thing. Whatever happens, I must get an education. This will only be a vacation, Ellen, for now. Your safety is the most important thing, and I'm sure your parents would agree. Inga, Papa called, Mama in the kitchen, and she came to the doorway with a teacup in her hand and a questioning look on her face. Yes? We must take the girls to Henrik's. You remember what Peter told us. I think today is the day you go to your brothers. Mrs. Johansson nodded. I think you are right. But I will take them. You must stay here. Stay here? And let you go alone? Of course not. I wouldn't send you on a dangerous trip alone. Mama put a hand on Papa's arm. If only I go with the girls, it will be safer. They are unlikely to suspect a woman and her children. But if they are watching us, if they see us all leave, if they are aware that the apartment is empty, that you don't go to your office in the morning, they will know. Then it will be dangerous. I am not afraid to go alone. It is very seldom that Mama disagreed with Papa. Anne Marie watched his face and knew that he was struggling with the decision. Finally, he nodded reluctantly. I will pack some things, Mama said. What time is it? Papa looked at his watch. Almost 5, he said. Henrik will still be there. He leaves around 5. Why don't you call him? Papa went to the telephone. Ellen looked puzzled. Who is Henrik? Where does he go at 5 in the morning? She asked. Anne Marie laughed. He's my uncle, my mother's brother, and he's a fisherman. They leave very early, all the fishermen, each morning. Their boats go out at sunrise. Oh, Ellen, she went on, you will love it there. It is where my grandparents lived, where Mama and Uncle Henrik grew up. It is so beautiful right on the water. You can stand at the edge of the meadow and look across to Sweden. She listened while Papa spoke on the telephone to Uncle Henrik, telling him that Mama and the children were coming for a visit. Ellen had gone into the bathroom and closed the door. Mama was still in the kitchen, so only Anne Marie was listening. It was a very puzzling conversation. So, Henrik, is the weather good for fishing? Papa asked cheerfully and listened briefly. Then he continued, I'm sending Inga to you today with the children, and she will be bringing you a carton of cigarettes. Yes, just one, he said after a moment. Anne Marie couldn't hear Uncle Henrik's words. But there are a lot of cigarettes available in Copenhagen now, if you know where to look, he went on. And so there will be others coming to you as well, I'm sure. But it wasn't true. Anne Marie was quite certain it wasn't true. Cigarettes were the one thing that Papa missed, the way Mama missed her coffee. He complained often. He had complained only yesterday that there were no cigarettes in the stores. The men at his office, he said, making a face, smoked almost anything, sometimes dried weeds rolled into paper, and the smell was terrible. Why was Papa speaking that way? Almost as if he was speaking in code. What was Mama really taking to Uncle Henrik? Then she knew. It was Ellen. The train ride along the Danish coast was very beautiful. Again and again they could see the sea from the windows. Anne-Marie had made this trip often to visit her grandparents when they were alive, and later, after they were gone, to see the cheerful, sun-tanned, unmarried uncle whom she loved. But this trip was new to Ellen, who sat with her face pressed to the window, watching the lovely homes along the seaside, the small farms and villages. "Look!" Anne-Marie exclaimed and pointed to the opposite side. "It's Clampenborg and the Deer Park. Oh, I wish we could stop here just for a while." Mama shook her head. "Not today," she said. The train did stop at small Clampenborg station, but none of the few passengers got off. "Have you ever been there, Ellen?" Mama asked. But Ellen said no. "Well, someday you will go. Someday you will walk through the park and you will see hundreds of deer, tame and free." Christy wriggled to her knees and peered through the window. "I don't see any deer," she complained. "They're there, I'm sure," Mama told her. "They're hiding in the trees." The train started again. The door at the end of the car opened and 2 German soldiers appeared. Anne-Marie tensed. Not here, too, on the train. They were everywhere. Together, the soldiers strolled through the car, glancing at passengers, stopping here and there to ask a question. One of them had something stuck in his teeth. He probed it with his tongue and distorted his own face. Anne-Marie watched with a kind of frightened fascination as the pair approached. One of the soldiers looked down with a bored expression on his face. "Where are you going?" he asked. "Galehi," Mama replied. "My brother lives there. We are going to visit him." The soldier turned away and Anne-Marie relaxed. Then, without warning, he turned back. "Are you visiting your brother for the New Year?" he asked suddenly. Mama stared at him with a puzzled look. "New Year?" she asked. "It's only October." "And guess what?" Christy exclaimed suddenly in a loud voice, looking at the soldier. Anne-Marie's heart sank, and she looked at her mother. Mama's eyes were frightened. "Shh, Christy," Mama said. "Don't chatter so." But Christy paid no attention to Mama as usual. She looked cheerfully at the soldier, and Anne-Marie knew what she was about to say. "This is our friend Ellen, and it's her New Year." But she didn't. Instead, Christy pointed to her feet. "I'm going to visit my Uncle Henrik," she chirped, "and I'm wearing my brand new shiny black shoes." The soldier chuckled and moved on. Anne-Marie gazed through the window again. The trees, the Baltic Sea, and the cloudy October sky passed in a blur as they continued north along the coast. "Smell the air," Mama said when they stepped off the train and made their way to the narrow street. "Isn't it lovely and fresh? It always brings back memories for me." The air was breezy and cool and carried the sharp, not unpleasant smell of salt and fish. High against the pale clouds, seagulls soared and cried out as if they were mourning. Mama looked at her watch. "I wonder if Henrik will be back yet. But it doesn't matter. The house is always unlocked. Come on, girls, we'll walk. It isn't far, just a little under 2 miles, and it's a nice day. We'll take the path through the woods instead of the road. It's a little longer, but it's so pretty." "Didn't you love the castle when we went through Helsingor, Ellen?" Christy asked. She had been talking about the Kronborg Castle ever since they had seen it, sprawling, massive, and ancient beside the sea. From the train, I wish we could have stopped to visit the kings that lived there, and queens. Anne-Marie sighed in exasperation with her little sister. "They do not," she said. "They did in the old days, but there aren't any kings now. Denmark has only 1 king, anyway, and he lives in Copenhagen." But Christy had pranced away, skipping along the sidewalk. "Kings and queens," she sang happily. "Kings and queens." Mama shrugged and smiled. Let her dream, Anne-Marie. I did the same when I was her age. She turned, leading the way along a tiny twisting street, heading toward the outskirts of the village. "Things have hardly changed here since I was a little girl," she said. "My Aunt Git lived there, in that house," she pointed, "and she's been dead for years, but the house is the same. She always had wonderful flowers in her garden." She peered over the low stone wall and looked at a few flowering bushes as they passed the house. "Maybe they still do, but it's the wrong time of year. There are just a few chrysanthemums left. And see, over there," she pointed, "my best friend. Her name was Helena. Lived in that house. Sometimes I used to spend the night with her, but more often she came to my house on the weekends. It was more fun to be in the country." "My brother Henrik always teased us, though," she continued with a chuckle. "He told us ghost stories and scared us half to death." The sidewalk ended and Mama turned onto a dirt road bordered by trees. When I walked each morning into town for school, she said, my dog followed me this far. At the end of the path, he turned and went back home. I guess he was a country dog and didn't like town. And do you know what? She went on, smiling. I had him named Trofast, Faithful, and it was just the right name for him because what a faithful dog he was. Every afternoon, he was always right here waiting for me to return. He knew the right time somehow. Sometimes as I come around this bend, even today, I feel as if I might come upon Trofast, waiting still with his tail wagging. But the path was empty today. No people, no faithful dogs. Mama shifted the bag she was carrying from one hand to the other, and they walked through the woods until the path opened to a meadow dotted with cows. Here the path skirted the edge of the field along the fence and beyond. If they could see the gray sea ruffled by wind, the breeze moved the high grass. At the end of the pasture they entered the woods again, and Anne-Marie knew they would soon be there at Uncle Henrik's house with a clearing beyond these woods. Do you mind if I run ahead? She asked suddenly. I want to be the first to see the house. Go on, Mama told her. Run ahead and tell the house we've come. Then she put her arm around Ellen's shoulders and added, say that we've brought a friend. And that's where we're going to stop today. So I will continue to make these videos, and we're going to read a chapter a day on Number the Stars, and I have a lot more books that we can read. Really, these are just fun to read, and you can do some different exercises. Something I suggest every day, other than listening to these read alouds, read for 20 minutes a day yourself and write about what you're reading. Write about what you thought about it, what you think is going to happen next. Write about your favorite character and describe them. Write questions you might have. Write inferences that you have, prediction, anything. But just write. If you don't want to write about what you're reading, please write about some sort of free write or a journal. Keep a journal. What are you going through? What are you feeling? What's happening at your house? What are things that are changing? What do you wish would change and be different at this time? Lots of things that you could write about. But please read for 20 minutes a day and write for 20 minutes a day. I miss you guys a ton. I love you a ton. I can't wait to see you on our video chats at the end of this week and then for weeks as we go forward. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you had a happy Easter yesterday. Bye.